Marcus and I were the envy of everyone in the town. A month before the wedding, he suddenly told me he was going to marry a girl with a congenital heart condition. When I confronted him, he looked helpless and said, "If I don't marry Chloe, she'll have to marry that mute guy from the neighboring town." Grace, you love me so much, you must understand my predicament. I nodded gently, then turned and threw away our engagement ring. The day before the wedding, Marcus still affectionately put his arm around my shoulder, his face gentle. "Grace, don't be angry. I'll get a divorce in a while, and then we can still have our wedding as planned." I smiled. He didn't know that tomorrow wouldn't just be his wedding day, I was getting married too. The day he decided to marry that girl, I agreed to the engagement my family arranged. While was dragging me along to help the girl pick out a wedding dress, I handed him a wedding invitation. When he saw the name on it, his smile instantly froze. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. Grace. You. Why is the groom's name someone else's? Who else would it be? I looked at Marcus expressionlessly, with no intention of explaining. He repeatedly flipped through the invitation, then scoffed, "Grace, what game are you playing? You're really putting on a show, and on the same day as my wedding. And the groom is Ethan. I know you're still angry with me, but I've made it clear to you that I'll get a divorce after I help Chloe out of her trouble. Is it really that hard for you to understand me?" As soon as Marcus finished speaking, there was a knock at the door. Chloe pushed the door open, her eyes red. "Marcus, maybe we should just forget about this. Actually, it wouldn't matter if I married Ethan. It's just, Seeing the grieved expression, a flicker of tenderness crossed Marcus's eyes. He walked over, gently patted Chloe's back, and comforted her in an exceedingly soft tone. "Don't think like that. I told you I'd help you, and I will." I wasn't concerned with how Marcus comforted Chloe. The invitation was already in his hands, and I had other important matters to handle at the textile mill today. I walked around them and left the room directly. Marcus's voice came from behind me. "Grace, where are you going?" I didn't look back, only vaguely hearing Chloe's plaintive cry behind me, followed by Marcus's hushed reassurances. I knew in my heart he wouldn't follow. Even though I had decided to let go, when it all became reality, a pang of bitterness still stirred within me. Marcus and I had been playmates since childhood. Our friendship gradually blossomed into love, and everything felt so natural. Our families had always been harmonious, so after we came of age, both sets of parents began busy themselves with our engagement arrangements. However, during the transformative 80s, Marcus harbored immense passion and ambition for his career. For years, he had repeatedly postponed our engagement, citing his busy work at the local hardware manufacturer and opportunities for promotion. At first, I supported his choices without reservation. I even gave up the opportunity to take over my family's textile mill, silently standing behind him, becoming his steadfast support every step of the way. In our small town, the villagers all envied Marcus and me as a couple, seeing us as a model for the town, until appeared in our lives. Chloe was an orphan with a heart condition, struggling alone and living in hardship in our town. Mom and Dad saw that she was hardworking and honest, and her family was truly struggling, so they decided to pay for her medical treatment. Little did we know, our kindness nurtured someone who would forget all gratitude. After her health improved, she started working at the family's local hardware manufacturer. Initially, she and Marcus had no dealings, until one time Marcus came to my house, and she happened to be there. To borrow money from Mom and Dad, saying her father was gravely ill. Hearing this, Marcus immediately gave her the money. Later, he even promoted her to be his personal assistant. As time passed, I gradually noticed that the relationship between Marcus and Chloe became unusual. Sometimes they even met privately behind my back. I remember at a recent holiday gathering, Chloe was nestled closely beside Marcus, and they were chatting and laughing animatedly. I stepped forward to remind Marcus, "We've already got engaged. If people see you being so close to Chloe, and rumors start spreading, how will Chloe ever get married in the future?" Chloe looked up, tears shimmering in her eyes, her voice tinged with grievance. "Grace, I know you're Marcus's fiancée, but as his colleague, if we're close during work hours, it's just a professional relationship. How could you think such dirty thoughts about us?" A professional relationship? Any clear-sighted person could tell what Chloe was really plotting, but didn't distance himself from Chloe because of this. Instead, his face turned grim. "Grace, can you stop overthinking things? Haven't you seen how hard Chloe has been working lately? She just started at the factory, just got promoted to assistant, and she's being ostracized." I was just comforting her. "Why are you so upset about it?" He glanced at me discontentedly. If it weren't for the engagement arranged by our elders, do you think I'd marry you? I stood there, watching him and Chloe leave side by side. In that moment, I finally understood that everything had changed. The sweet nothings he once whispered in my ear had ultimately become fleeting memories. The tenderness that once filled his eyes was now exclusively for someone else. I vaguely heard people discussing at the annual gathering. How did that Marcus boy get involved with the assistant? Isn't he about to marry the family's daughter? Can't you see? Who could put up with that girl's temper? She's nowhere near as thoughtful as that gentle assistant. But isn't their engagement known throughout the town? The family even announced back then that as long as the Marcus boy made a formal marriage proposal, they'd give a factory as a wedding gift from the bride's family. If that Marcus boy were to call off the wedding, where would the family put their pride? Even outsiders could see these things clearly. I didn't believe Marcus wouldn't understand. Ultimately, his heart was no longer with me. Perhaps this was for the best. I handed my resignation letter to the relevant department at the local hardware manufacturer, preparing to leave. As I walked towards the stairwell, I heard voices from behind the stairwell door. Through the glass pane on the stairwell door, I saw Chloe nestled in his arms, her eyes filled with admiration. Anne's gaze towards Chloe was far from innocent. Chloe looked up, her red lips slightly parted, and Marcus's eyes began to wander. But he seemed to retain a sliver of reason. He suddenly pushed Chloe away. Chloe, we can't do this, Before could finish speaking, Chloe's lips were already pressed against his. At first, Marcus resisted, but gradually, he began to respond. They were like parched land meeting a long-awaited rain, frantically drawing emotions from each other. Marcus, I'm sorry, I can't control myself. I love you too much. I only regret that I didn't meet you sooner. Chloe, I didn't want to hear the rest. I glanced at the ring on my hand, one Marcus had personally made when he proposed to me at 18. No, there was no need to keep it. Taking the ring off my finger, I casually tossed it into the trash can in the stairwell. The stairwell door opened, and as I turned, I met Marcus's angry eyes. Grace, did you just go to the manager's office to resign? I glanced at him and quickly walked down the stairs. Marcus hurried after me. You know the local hardware manufacturer is in a period of growth right now. It's almost the end of the year. Where am I going to find people? Don't you have Chloe? Before, Marcus had praised Chloe's strong work abilities to me more than once. Isn't this the perfect time to make room for her? A flicker of discomfort crossed Marcus's eyes. He remained silent for a moment before speaking. Chloe's abilities are indeed good, but the local hardware manufacturer still needs you. Are you still angry? Grace, I've told you many times, I'm only marrying her to help her deal with her mom and dad. I promise, once her situation is resolved, I'll divorce her. I was tired of hearing such words. I walked straight out of the stairwell, quickening my pace. Marcus hurried after me, but I reached my car faster, opened the door, and sped away before he could catch up. Grace, you really are something. How dare you treat me like this? Do you think that if you leave me, the family will still be as prominent as it is now? Over the years, Mom and Dad had toiled tirelessly for the textile mill. Now that they were older, they were no longer able to cope. The mill's situation was deteriorating. Marcus also used this opportunity to repeatedly step all over me. However, he may have forgotten that I was supposed to be the heir to the family business. At that time, the family was in a difficult situation. My arrival had brought a glimmer of hope to the family. Ever since I took over the local hardware manufacturer, I was swamped daily with management and production coordination, leaving me little time, and my meetings with Marcus became increasingly rare. The distance between us seemed to be quietly stretching. Until a grand town fair was held in the town, it was the most lively time of the year for the villagers, and a stage for all kinds of talented people to showcase their skills. Although I didn't often participate in such events, considering that the local hardware manufacturer needed to use this opportunity to expand its influence, I decided to lead the team there myself. At the fair, the crowd surged, and it was exceptionally lively. As I moved through the crowd, a familiar figure suddenly caught my eye, Marcus, and beside him stood the gentle and charming Chloe. Taking advantage of a moment when Marcus was momentarily separated by the crowd, Chloe slowly walked towards me, a hint of provocative smile on her face. Grace, what does it matter if you and Marcus were childhood sweethearts? He still chose me in the end, didn't he? The words had barely left her lips when she bumped into me, holding a teacup. The teacup shattered, and the crimson tea spilled all over Chloe's clothes. Marcus appeared at just the right moment, gently picking the glass shards off Chloe's clothes. Chloe glanced at me, then said with a slightly aggrieved look, Marcus, don't blame Grace, she didn't mean it. Marcus glared at me fiercely. Grace, that's enough. Even now, you're still playing these games. Do you think you can win me back like this? Grace, I'm warning you, if you ever dare to lay a hand on Chloe again, don't blame me for disregarding the friendship between our two families. I looked at Marcus, amused. I took a step closer to Chloe, my eyes fixed coldly on him. Lay a hand on her? Watch closely, this is laying a hand on her. I raised my hand and slapped Chloe across the face. Did you see that clearly? Consider that slap my blessing for you two to grow old together, hand in hand. Marcus froze on the spot, not reacting until I had already left. And the next day, I went directly to Northwood's largest bridal wear custom shop. Before, Marcus had been too busy and didn't have time to take me to look at wedding items. So, I took care of everything myself. To save Marcus's reputation, I even had a pair of gold bracelets made, which the townspeople considered precious for weddings. Because I love traditional clothing, I also specially ordered an embroidered wedding gown popular in the town. Now that the wedding was cancelled, it was only natural for me to get these two items back. When I arrived at the shop, the proprietress looked troubled and stammered, Mr. Marcus has already picked up the gold bracelets and the wedding gown. He brought the reservation order, and we thought you weren't available, so we let him take them. Marcus had chosen this exact moment to pick them up, not earlier or later. His intention was obvious. I could do without the embroidered wedding gown, but the gold bracelets had to be returned. Because they were passed down by the townspeople, they were our family heirloom. I called Marcus, but only received a threatening reply, give your gold bracelets back? Sure, but last month your mom and dad just partnered with the family on a project, and it seems there have been some issues with it these past few days. Threatening me? On my end of the phone, I let out a cold snort. On the other end, Marcus softened his tone, Grace, you don't lack this pair of gold bracelets. When we get married, I'll have another pair custom made for you. This pair, just let Chloe have them. I just wanted to give her some dignity. This time I was truly amused, almost to laughter, by his audacity. Seeing that I didn't respond, Marcus continued on the phone, Grace, Chloe's and my wedding is coming soon. If you'd like to come. I coldly interrupted, no need. I probably won't have time to go. Marcus asked, perplexed, busy with what? I calmly replied, Mom and Dad are preparing for my engagement. Oh, I see. That's fine then. Grace, you're always so thoughtful. Alright, I'll adjust the wedding arrangements. Before I could answer, Marcus hung up the phone. I didn't explain further. Now, only one thought occupied my mind, the gold bracelets had to be retrieved. But this matter, I would leave to a professional. My wedding was set for the same day as Marcus's. Early in the morning, friends and relatives from the town gathered at my house, ready for the wedding procession. After the wedding procession picked me up, it would pass the open ground at the edge of the town where Marcus and Chloe's wedding was being held. As the wedding procession passed, I saw Chloe just stepping out of the wedding car, wearing the embroidered wedding gown I had custom ordered, and the gold bracelets inlaid with my family heirloom. She nestled sweetly into Marcus's arms, Chloe's face radiating triumphant pride as she accepted the envy of the crowd. But the next second, her and Marcus's smiles froze on their faces. My relatives attended Marcus and Chloe's wedding on my behalf. Only, they weren't there to offer blessings, but to reclaim my belongings. I had said it before, my things weren't so easily taken. As for me, I merely cast a glance at the farce from a distance, then had the car drive on. An hour later, I arrived in Southwood. I was picked up by Liam. He was a lively, straightforward young man. As soon as he saw me, he directly reminded me to be kind to his brother. This young man certainly knew how to set expectations before offering some sweetness. Perhaps realizing he had been too blunt, he then complimented me, saying I was cute, intelligent, and clearly his brother's type. In fact, I hadn't met Ethan yet. Due to his health, he had sent his brother to pick me up. After getting out of the wedding car, led by Liam, I arrived at the new house the family had prepared for us. The moment the door opened, I saw a gentle and handsome face. A completely different style from Marcus. I walked up to Ethan, surprised to find that he was speaking. I looked at him in astonishment. You. Ethan's lips curved slightly, his eyes holding a gentle warmth. Actually, I wasn't born mute, it was an emergency reaction from a car accident that gave me aphasia. Now, I've recovered. I hadn't expected such a pleasant surprise at this wedding. I wondered if Chloe would regret her decision when she heard this news. News of Ethan's and my wedding spread throughout the town the very next day. But that's a story or later. The wedding ceremonies were elaborate, and coupled with entertaining guests, I felt incredibly tired that day. After a day of exhaustion, all I wanted was to lie in bed and get a good night's sleep. I was in the midst of taking off my gown when Ethan entered. He came around to my side, placed his hand on my back, and gently helped me unzip it. His nose was almost touching my jawline, and the warmth of his breath on my face felt ticklish. I shyly turned my head away. Noticing the blush on my cheeks, Ethan curved his lips. I didn't expect the capable girl famous throughout the town to be so easily shy. At his words, my cheeks flushed even deeper. After finally getting the gown off, he urged me to wash up. He also took me on a tour of our new house. Although we had a house in Northwood, this charming house was the bridal gift arranged by the family. The family was more influential than both my family and the family. They were worried I might be mistreated after marrying into their family. Therefore, after the wedding, Ethan and I were allowed to choose our own residence. I had no objections. After all, it didn't matter where we lived. Ethan, on the other hand, kept chatting with me, and through our conversation, I learned about his life over the past few years. We were supposed to do something on our wedding night, but I was too shy to bring it up myself. Ethan wasn't in a hurry either, saying he was willing to gradually develop our feelings for each other. That night, I enjoyed a rare good night's sleep. The next day, I was supposed to meet Ethan's mom and dad, but to my surprise, they were already waiting for us downstairs early in the morning. The atmosphere during the meal was harmonious. Mr. Richard had a gentle and loving nature, and was very considerate towards Mrs. Eleanor, constantly serving her food and handing her water. The couple kindly asked if I was settling in well, and I smiled, saying everything was fine. Mrs. Eleanor lovingly advised me OT to be reserved at home, and to tell her if Ethan ever bullied me, so she could stand up for me. Ethan pretended to be scared. She's the only one who bullies me, how could I dare to bully her? This made everyone laugh, creating a joyous and warm atmosphere. Seeing family's harmony, I also breathed a sigh of relief. You can also go back to Southwood to visit when you have time. You and I don't have much to do normally, so you two should spend more time with us in Southwood. The family only had 2 sons, and the couple were particularly kind to me. And I was incredibly grateful for their kindness towards me. So, that afternoon, I went back to Southwood with Ethan and his mom and dad. Southwood was a picturesque waterside community, an old-world country town with small bridges and flowing water, its scenery like a classical ink painting, especially captivating on a rainy day. I looked around with fresh curiosity. When I turned, Ethan had a portrait of me in his hand. The ink was still wet, and it was strikingly lifelike. I asked in surprise, "Is this for me?" Of course. I happily took it, held the portrait next to my face, and smiled as I asked him if it looked like me. Ethan nodded, his eyes full of tenderness. Before he could speak, a hurried sound of footsteps came from behind us. The next second, Ethan pulled me into his arms. I caught a faint scent of the ocean from his hair, and for a moment, I felt a strange enchantment. When I turned my head to look behind me, Marcus was glaring fiercely at us. He had dark circles under his eyes, his hair was disheveled, and he looked haggard and dejected. Seeing and me embracing, Marcus almost gnashed his teeth as he said, "Grace, who is he?" Frowning, I shielded Ethan behind me and replied with a cold face, "Isn't it obvious? He's my husband. Haven't you seen the wedding invitation?" Hearing this, Marcus's face grew even uglier. "Grace, how could you do this to me? Marcus, you and I have long since had nothing to do with each other. Don't talk as if I betrayed you. From the very beginning, you were the one who chose Chloe. Since you made your choice first, why couldn't I choose to marry someone else?" Marcus's face instantly fell. Just then, Ethan, who was standing beside me, spoke up. "Mr. Marcus has traveled a long way. It wouldn't be right for him to leave empty-handed. I'll treat you. Mr. Marcus, please join us in a private room." Ethan's words were very appropriate, both safeguarding my reputation and not causing Marcus to lose face. The villagers watching from the roadside thought it was a reunion of old friends and dispersed. My tense heart relaxed slightly as I watched Marcus, his face grim, follow us upstairs. This local inn was owned by the family. Seeing Ethan arrive, the owner respectfully called him young, ensuring meticulous service and leading us into the VIP private room. Ethan thoughtfully ordered my favorite dishes and then filled Marcus's glass with wine. But didn't appreciate it. Instead, he sneered, "You don't need to put on a host's act. Grace and I have been in love for years, you can't just intrude on that." A resolute look appeared between Ethan's brows, and his voice was steady and strong. "Regardless of your past, I am her other half now. You have no right or standing to say these things to me." Marcus stood up, displeasure etched on his face. If you hadn't interfered between us, she and I would have been married long ago. There'd be no place for you. Bang! Ethan slammed his glass onto the table, his smile vanishing, replaced by a furious expression. Why don't you reflect on why she chose me instead of you? Where were you then? Marcus was rendered speechless by the question. I said calmly, Marcus, let bygones be bygones. I'm married to Ethan now, and I just want to live a peaceful life with him. Marcus's eyes widened, his face filled with disbelief. How long have you two known each other? You couldn't possibly have fallen in love with him in such a short time. You must be getting revenge on me. On my wedding day, out of jealousy, you had someone take my gown and gold bracelets. Do you know how much public humiliation that cost me? Of course, I knew. But he brought it upon himself, didn't he? And now, why did he miss my kindness? I stared coldly at Marcus. Marcus, those were things I bought with my own money. Besides, they bore my family heirloom. Why should I leave them for you? Ever since I reclaimed those items, it was completely over between us. Please don't disturb my life anymore. There was no love left between us long ago. I don't believe it. How could over a decade of feelings just disappear like that? If I still loved you, why would I have married Ethan? Stop deluding yourself, we are over. Marcus was stunned by my words and remained silent for a long time before speaking. Why don't you love me anymore? We went through so much. Is it because of Chloe? But I had no choice. He lowered his head in regret, his eyes filled with pain. Grace, I know I wronged you. But that wedding was ruined by you, and I didn't marry her in the end. That day, I was waiting for you, but you. Enough. Stop making excuses for your selfishness. Marcus, everyone in Northwood knew about our engagement back then. By humiliating me like this, did you ever consider how I would face others in the future? Marcus, did you really not anticipate such an outcome? Chloe declared her love for you more than once. Couldn't you see that she was deliberately showing off in front of me, trying to humiliate me? Chloe had confessed her feelings to Marcus more than once. At first, Marcus firmly rejected her, claiming he only loved me. But as time went on, his attitude began to grow ambiguous, and he even started to enjoy Chloe's attentions. A resolute look appeared between Ethan's brows, and his voice was steady and strong. Regardless of your past, I am her other half now. You have no right or stand ding to say these things to me. Marcus stood up, displeasure etched on his face. If you hadn't interfered between us, she and I would have been married long ago. There'd be no place for you. Bang! Ethan slammed his glass onto the table, his smile vanishing, replaced by a furious expression. Why don't you reflect on why she chose me instead of you? Where were you then? Marcus was rendered speechless by the question. I said calmly, Marcus, let bygones be bygones. I'm married to Ethan now, and I just want to live a peaceful life with him. Marcus's eyes widened, his face filled with disbelief. How long have you two known each other? You couldn't possibly have fallen in love with him in such a short time. You must be getting revenge on me. On my wedding day, out of jealousy, you had someone take my gown and gold bracelets. Do you know how much public humiliation that cost me? Of course, I knew. But he brought it upon himself, didn't he? And now, why did he miss my kindness? I stared coldly at Marcus. Marcus, those were things I bought with my own money. Besides, they bore my family heirloom. Why should I leave them for you? Ever since I reclaimed those items, it was completely over between us. Please don't disturb my life anymore. There was no love left between us long ago. I don't believe it. How could over a decade of feelings just disappear like that? If I still loved you, why would I have married Ethan? Stop deluding yourself, we are over. Marcus was stunned by my words and remained silent for a long time before speaking. Why don't you love me anymore? We went through so much. Is it because of Chloe? But I had no choice. He lowered his head in regret, his eyes filled with pain. Grace, I know I wronged you. But that wedding was ruined by you, and I didn't marry her in the end. That day, I was waiting for you, but you. Enough. Stop making excuses for your selfishness. Marcus, everyone in Northwood knew about our engagement back then. By humiliating me like this, did you ever consider how I would face others in the future? Marcus, did you really not anticipate such an outcome? Chloe declared her love for you more than once. Couldn't you see that she was deliberately showing off in front of me, trying to humiliate me? Chloe had confessed her feelings to Marcus more than once. At first, Marcus firmly rejected her, claiming he only loved me. But as time went on, his attitude began to grow ambiguous, and he even started to enjoy Chloe's attentions. I helplessly rubbed my forehead. I hadn't expected him to be so stubborn. But that scene just now had truly startled me. thankfully, he was alright. I glared furiously at Marcus. Marcus, I originally wanted to save you some face and avoid such an embarrassing scene, but you're pushing your luck and trying to harm Ethan. Then don't blame me for being impolite. I kicked Marcus hard, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead from the pain. Marcus clutched the painful spot, barely concealing his agony. Grace, how could you do this to me? I gave a cold laugh. You wanted to kill him. Is kicking you once so excessive? He looked at me in disbelief, softly calling my name, hoping for a shred of sympathy. But I only cared about Ethan and paid him no mind. Unwilling to give up, Marcus endured the pain and tried to take my hand, but Ethan forcefully pushed him away. Ethan no longer showed his previous gentle demeanor. Instead, he righteously warned Marcus, Mr. Marcus, there's a limit to foolishness. I've run out of patience. If you harass my wife again, I guarantee you won't leave Southwood alive. Marcus was about to argue further when the private room door was suddenly pushed open. A pale, emaciated woman burst in, crying. I took several careful glances before recognizing her as Chloe. The last time I saw Chloe, she was wearing designer clothes and proudly showing off to me, but now she was in rags, her cheeks sunken, looking so weak she seemed abo. Ut to collapse at any second. It had only been half a month since Marcus married her, yet she had been tormented into this state, looking utterly miserable, like someone on the brink of death. She knelt at Marcus's feet, crying, Marcus, I know I was wrong. Can we go back? I promise I won't lie to you again, ah. Before she could finish, Marcus kicked her with a disgusted look. Chloe fell to the ground, sobbing breathlessly. Grace, please, beg Marcus to forgive me. I want to go home so badly. She cried heartbreakingly. I frowned in disgust. What did this have to do with me? She was the one who stole my marriage, and now she wanted me to intercede for her. My tone was cold. Chloe, how Marcus treats you is his business, not mine. And of course, you and I have nothing to do with each other. Chloe knelt, refusing to get up. Marcus wanted to divorce me the day after we got married. Now I'm the laughingstock of all Northwood, with nowhere left to go. Please, Grace, say a few good words for me and let me go back. I was shocked. I hadn't expected Marcus to actually kick her out of his home. However, I didn't pity her plight, nor did I care how Marcus treated her. I had my own life now, the past had nothing to do with me. But I never expected these two to insist on disturbing my peace. I had only just enjoyed 2 peaceful days before they came bothering me again. I really couldn't keep my temper in check. I looked at Ethan, who was equally displeased with Chloe. He also caught my eye, sensing I had something to say, and leaned in. What's your command, wife? I straightened my clothes and extended my hand to him. We've been out long enough, it's time to go home. I don't want to see these 2 rotten people again. If they come bothering us again, you all, kick them out. And if they cause any more trouble. I looked at the household helpers and the doorman, you know the consequences. Ethan understood perfectly and quickly declared, did everyone hear that? Do as my wife says. If anyone lets them in, I'll be the first to deal with them. After that, it indeed became much quieter. However, I also learned something through this incident. It turned out that those well-known factories in Southwood were all Ethan's enterprises. He wasn't as gentle as he appeared, on the contrary, he was quite a shrewd businessman. No wonder the family had achieved its current standing. That day, Ethan and I returned home after an outing. Once inside, he suddenly took my hand and playfully said he wanted to apologize to me. His unusual behavior left me utterly confused, and I quickly asked why he needed to apologize. He looked up at me and said sweetly, wife, I'm sorry, I lied to you. Not understanding, I asked him, what did you lie to me about? After a brief silence, Ethan finally spoke, actually, Marcus wasn't wrong. I truly went to great lengths to secure our engagement with you. It turned out that Ethan had known me ever since I graduated from college. At that time I was out shopping at a market with a friend, and I accidentally bumped into a passerby, spilling tea on her clothes. I quickly apologized, offering to compensate for the damage, but the person seemed in a hurry and waved her hand, saying it wasn't necessary. The incident happened so fast that I didn't get a clear look at the person's face. Only now did I realize that person was Ethan. I was immediately drawn to you, but when I later inquired, I learned you had a boyfriend of many years. I thought it was fate playing a trick, that we were meeting at the wrong time, and I only hoped he would treat you well. But recently, I heard that your family intended to arrange an engagement for you, so I had my mom and dad use a little bit of influence. My heart trembled, and I asked with suspicion, then what do you mean by saying you lied to me? Ethan hesitated for a moment, then poured everything out. After your engagement with the family was called off, I heard that your family deliberately wanted to avoid families with established businesses, so that you wouldn't be controlled again. I had no choice but to continue pretending to be mute and to act as if I held no real power. That's how your mom and dad agreed to our engagement. He cautiously glanced at me, afraid I might be upset, then quickly looked down again. I was speechless again. I sighed and shook my head. I forgive you. Since we're married and a family now, we should naturally rely on each other and walk hand in hand. He let out a sigh of relief, instantly beaming like a puppy. He snuggled into my arms and then gently pressed a kiss. That night, I had another dream. I dreamed I was being dragged to the family residence. Marcus had a gown ready for me, forcing me to marry him. Chloe sat on a chair, smiling ominously at me. My hands were bound, and I couldn't break free, seemingly foreseeing a tragic fate in my despair. Suddenly, I heard Ethan's voice from behind me. He cut the ropes and led me out of the dream. Looking back, the family residence was a desolate ruin, overgrown with weeds, yet vibrant flowers bloomed amidst them. I hugged Ethan tightly, feeling as if all misfortune and hardships had faded away from me. That night, I slept extremely soundly. Perhaps the harsh words I'd spoken last time made Marcus wary, because sure enough, he hadn't bothered me since. Ethan and I had settled into a comfortable routine, our lives getting back on track. One day at a family dinner, I brought up the matter with Liam, lamenting that at least Marcus still had some regard for his family's reputation. Ethan, however, looked at me with surprise. Oh, my brother didn't tell you? Marcus's factory was sabotaged by a business partner my brother sent. He suffered significant losses, and then he was hit by a car by vengeful shareholders. He's still in the hospital now. I heard that the wife he married somehow contracted a serious illness, and then she passed it on to him. Now family is in total chaos. Within a month, his wife died from internal bleeding. They didn't even arrange a burial plot for her. Now Marcus has to take medication for the rest of his life. Who knows how many years he has left. I pulled up my stiff lips, forcing a smile. Well, I said, I suppose that's him reaping what he sowed. What's done is done. I no longer wanted to dwell on the past. Now, I just wanted to live our lives well with Ethan. As for Marcus, he had nothing to do with me anymore. Honey, what are you chatting about with my brother? I bought your favorite pastries, come and try them. I watched Ethan walk over, carrying a box in his hand, and smiled. Okay, let's try them together. Amidst the harmonious chatter of the family, I smiled gently into Ethan's eyes, knowing we would be together year after year, always. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.